All right, guys, Mrs. Ackland here. We are going to do our IXL for today. It's called Trigonometric Ratios, Find a Side Length. Let's take a look at our first problem. We've got a right triangle. All of our problems involve right triangles. And it says to find PR. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and label side PR with the variable X. So PR is right here. That's what they want us to find. So I'm going to go ahead and just label that. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do our normal marking up of the figure. So I'm going to circle the reference angle. The reference angle is just going to be whichever angle has a degree measure, not the 90-degree angle though. Okay. And then I'm going to go through and label my H, O, and A. H stands for hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always across from the 90-degree angle. So I'm going to put an H right here. Then we do opposite. Opposite is always across from the reference angle. And then lastly, we have adjacent. Adjacent is just right next to the reference angle. Then I'm going to grab my highlighter and I'm going to highlight the two sides that have either a measurement. Okay, so this right here, PQ has the measurement of 4 that was given to us. Or we want to also highlight the side that has the variable, the side that we're looking to find. So PR was what they were asking us to find. And then I'm going to take a look at the two sides that we have marked, and I'm going to determine what trig ratio involves these two. So we have H and O, and I'm going to pull up my mnemonic device right here, SOHCAHTOA. O and H is only found in this one right here, SOH. None of the other ones contain both O and H. SOH stands for sine, opposite, hypotenuse. So we are going to use the sine trig ratio to solve this problem. Sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, and then we're going to fill in this equation with actual numbers from the problem. So instead of just sine, we want to say sine of 39. Instead of O, we want to actually put the value of the opposite side, which was 4. And instead of H, we want to put the value of the hypotenuse, which is our X. Okay, so from here, we need to solve for X. This, to me, is actually the trickier situation. What's tricky about it is we have the variable in the denominator, okay? With the variable in the denominator, I'm going to show you guys what it's going to end up looking like on the right side of the screen here, but then let me show you algebraically how we get there, okay? So what it's going to end up looking like is this. Our final thing that we're going to plug into the calculator is going to be X equals 4 over sine of 39. And a lot of the problems that we did in class ended up with being 4 times the sine of 39. But it's 4 over sine of 39 because our X is in the denominator. Okay, so why is this happening? Let me show you real quick using algebra. In order to solve for X, we need to first multiply both sides by X. Okay, multiply both sides by X, and on the left we end up with X times the sine of 39 equals, and then over here, the X, the times X and the divided by X cancel, and we just end up with 4. Okay, now remember, we want to get X all by itself, so now we're going to divide both sides by the sine of 39. You don't need to go through all of this every single time. You can just remember that this is what it's going to look like when your X is in the denominator. And the more practice you get with this, but it is good to know why this is working out this way. Or you can work through the algebra each time. That works as well. Okay, and then what happens over here, the sine of 39 over sine of 39, that cancels. and we're just left with x. And then on the right, look at that. We've got 4 over sine of 39. Okay, so that's definitely not our final answer, though. We need to determine a numerical value for this. So this is where our Desmos calculator is going to come into play, okay? So they have a little button right here, which makes a fraction for us. The numerator of our fraction is 4, and the denominator is sine of 39. Okay, how do I do that? I just click sine, and then I just type 39. That's literally it. And there's our answer, okay? Now, they want us to round this to the nearest tenth. So the nearest tenth is 1 digit to the right of the decimal point. So that would just be 6.3. But we have to look at the digit after that. So we have to look at the 5 and ask ourselves, is this next number big enough that it's going to force us to round this up? Okay, so if the next number is a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then we round up. It is a 5, so we're going to round 6.3 is going to get rounded up to 6.4. So 6.4 is going to be our final answer for this one. I'm going to go ahead and submit. And I'm going to do one more problem. Okay, so this one asks us to find GH. So let's go find GH. GH is right here, and let's put a variable on it. Our variable is X. Okay, then we're going to do our normal marking up. We're going to circle our reference angle. Our reference angle is G because that's one that has an angle measure. We're going to label our hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is just the side that's across from the 90-degree angle. We're going to label our opposite side. Our opposite side is the side that's across from the reference angle. And we're going to label our adjacent side. Actually, I think this is going to turn out the same way as the first one, I think. So maybe we'll try and do a third problem. Anyway, now we're going to highlight the two sides that either have the measurements or the variable. Okay, and then we're going to look at what we've written here. We have O and H. Let's go look at our mnemonic device. O and H, that's sine again. Okay. SOH, sine opposite over hypotenuse. Let's put that up here. So we have sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Let's fill this in with real numbers. Instead of just sine, I want to write sine of 23. Instead of O, I want to put the opposite side, which is 3. Whoops, let me fix that equal sign. So my O is 3. And my hypotenuse is X. Okay? X is in the denominator. So let's remember what we learned from the first problem, and let's write it out. We could go through all of the algebraic steps, but I remember that when X is in the denominator, that X is just going to be 3 over the sine of 23. And if X were in the numerator, it would have been 3 times the sine of 23, but it's in the denominator. Okay, let's go pop this into the calculator. So 3 over sine of 23. Let's clear this out. 3 is my numerator. Sine of 23 is my denominator. I get 7.6 as my answer, and then I'm going to look next door to the 6. It's a 7, which is big enough. 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we have to round up. So 7.6 gets rounded up to 7.7. Okay. Let me look at this one. How's this one going to end up? So they want us to find xz, which is our... This is going to be another one that's going to be the same way, right? No, this will be good. Okay, this is a good one. So this one will show us the other way, where it's not, where the x is in the numerator, not in the denominator. And this will be the last one that I'll do for this video. So it says find xz. Xz is right here. Let's mark that with a variable x. Let's mark up our picture. Circle the reference angle. Reference angle is the angle that has the measurement on it. Hypotenuse is across from the 90-degree angle. Opposite side is across from the reference angle. And then we have adjacent. Let's highlight. We're going to highlight this side because it has the 9 on it, and I'm going to highlight this side because it has our variable x. That's what we're looking for. I've got A and H. Let's go over to our mnemonic device, A and H. The only one that has A and H is CAH, CA. That stands for cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Let's put that up here. Cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, now we're going to change it from just cosine to cosine of 26. We're going to change the A to x, and the H is 9. Okay, and watch what happens here. This one is going to end up like this. It's going to end up being x equals 9 times the cosine of 26. Because our x is in the numerator. But let's show algebraically why this works. And this one, algebraically, I think is a little easier to see. We're just going to multiply both sides by 9 because we have 9 in the denominator there. When we do that, we end up with 9 times cosine of 26 on the left. And on the right, 9 divided by 9 cancels, and we're just left with x. Okay, so same thing. So this is what we're putting into the calculator, 9 times cosine 26. Let's do it. So we don't need the fraction thing this time because it's just 9 times. So 9 times cosine of 26. Is that right? Yep. Okay. Answer is 8.0. Let's look at the next number over and see if we round up. Ooh, we do. It's an 8. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. That's definitely big enough. So 8.0 is going to get bumped up to 8.1. And that's it. All right. And then this is basically the way the questions stay. You're either going to have one of the two scenarios. So you're going to mark up your figure, highlight the side that has the numerical value, highlight the side that you're looking to find, look at those two letters for those two sides, and then refer to your mnemonic device. Figure out which trig ratio you're going to use, write your equation, fill it in with real numbers. If your x is in the numerator, then you end up multiplying. If your x is in the denominator, you end up dividing. All right, let me know if you have any questions, guys. Good luck.